Hello and welcome to another Focus Mark 1 video. Now you may be asking what the hell I've been doing with this car the last couple of weeks since I got it back from the body shop. Well, to be fair, I've done a lot of cleaning. The amount of dust in this thing, unbelievable amounts of dust. And you know what, I shouldn't really be surprised because body shops are naturally really dusty places, and this was really bad. It's taken me about a week and a half to get it up to a base in terms of looking relatively clean, but not show clean as such. I call it show clean, where it's pretty concourse. That's what I call that anyway. But basically, yesterday, I came to this very lockup where I did a load of work on the car. So basically, reversing everything that I removed. So if you watch my previous video where we took the front door card off, the door handle, the rear quarter panel on the inside, and the trims and the badge and a few bits and pieces. Yeah, I filmed that yesterday, had all the footage on my my memory card, and the whole thing got corrupted. Every single file was basically stop-start and pixelating and awful. I know there are places where you can get them restored, but they don't exactly, in my experience, do it properly. They can actually buffer the images up or enhance them too much, or they don't exactly come out in the best possible way. So I've come back here today to explain, unfortunately, I've lost an entire episode, and that's lost content, and that means that I don't get about 4p's worth of video revenue. So I'm damn well peed off about that, but it's just the way it is with technology. That memory card is now in the bin. I'm now using my phone's actual memory, even though I don't have a massive memory capacity on this phone, but it's done me proud. And I used to use this technique in the early days of my YouTube channel, and I can now show you 50 Shades of Panther Black not in all its glory. I have been cleaning and waxing using Auto Glim extra gloss protection on the sides. I cleaned it down and just used the extra gloss protection in places. As you can see, the arch lip just looks absolutely amazing, just beautiful. And I have, as you've noticed, like on Nick's car, where if you noticed in the latest video and on Nick's car, the wheel arch liner had actually detached from the metal bracket here with the clip. Well, I've had mine cut off. If you haven't noticed, it's just literally a straight flow. You'll have a little bit of a bracket here where the clip goes in that holds the arch liner in place. Well, because my car will never have arch liners fitted again, I haven't bothered. But this corner, honestly, it's so smooth, you could eat your dinner off it. That is exactly what you want a sill on a Mark 1 to look like, and I want it to remain that way. And then we have added some lovely trims yesterday, new old stock, been in the packet for 20 years. It sits really nicely, no Gorilla Glue needed on this one as well. This one, which came from Portugal, because I couldn't get them over here, and at last I do not have one that is pointing and bowing out at the end. And we have a lovely Zetec badge that I took quite a lot of time to place on this car, and I've trapped another hair in the badge as usual. And then really the only thing I did was obviously put the door handle back on. It was a reversal of how I removed it. So this piece goes on first, you hook in there, and then you hook it back into the mechanism, and then you hook this back on, put the 2 screws in, put that screw back in, and that screw that we loosened, tighten it back up, and it opens perfectly fine. And obviously then you just put the door card back on in the same way you removed it, the exact reversal. You put all your screws back in, you put the 2 screws back in up here, and then bang it back on. The difficult bit is getting it over the actual lip at the top here, but once you've actually sort of angled it on and you've got that top bit sitting on the ledge, it's all good. You can put this trim back on without damaging it. And then obviously in the car we had a bit of a shuffle round, and we have managed to get the quarter panel nicely back on. I'm sorry about the camera not focusing, and then we put the big pillar back on. That was all good. and it's all been repaired. And that quarter panel, by the way, that clip that had broken off, it's back on with Gorilla Glue, and it's safe to say it hasn't come off again. So Gorilla Glue does have its uses, so if you have that problem, you can do it on your Focus. Now there's one thing that I did do that I'm going to show you all over again, and it is this stuff: Dinatrol Corrosion Protection Cavity Wax. I think this is the 3125. It is clear cavity wax. I've used about half the bottle using this flexible spout, and basically all I did was I injected the whole sill. So obviously the quarter panel was off, so I threw this all the way down the bottom, because obviously we've had a new plate that has been welded just here. If you can see this weld seam going across, so it's been welded all around here, complete new plate, and I wanted all the wax to go straight into the sill. We did it all the way along, and if you just get this trim back up, there's lots of slit holes, okay, and you can see inside the sill, and you inject it that way. You go all the way down, and obviously in a 5-door you'd have one of these for the rear door, so you do the same. You just go in the slits and you can do it properly. God, it just paint's still everywhere. I'm gonna have to clean these carpets again. The seats are gonna have to have a bit of a leather clean and moisturize. That's gonna be all good anyway. But that's what I did with this, and I didn't really want to use Dynax or anything, because, well, one, I was out of Dynax, and I used this stuff on the driver's side sill. And I'll tell you something, if I just bring you down here, I think I can show you some of the wax. Oh yes, it's coming out. There you go. You can see the wax here with my fingers. Oh, it's just a clear wax. And that, by the way, is one of the drain holes. There's drain holes all along the sill, and I can still feel some wax coming out, and that's what it should be. The wax should be oozing out of those drain holes. That will continue to ooze quite a lot, and especially on hot days when it kind of softens and gets a bit more loose, but eventually it will stop dripping. But that sill is absolutely totally covered in this stuff, which will prevent, hopefully, the sill from rotting from inside out. Remember, rust mostly comes from the inside and pushes out, and that is someone from a body shop who taught me that, and quite a few years ago now. Rust does not always happen from the outside in, it's always the inside to out. So yeah. Another thing I've been doing is I've been wet sanding this roof. I have never wet sanded any part of this car previously, and the roof is one of the only areas that I've not looked at. Obviously the rear bumper has to be replaced, because my body man does not work with filling Ford bumpers, because it's not ABS, and in his experience of 15 years he won't touch Ford stuff like this. It's not ABS, and it may crack over time if you try to fill those holes. It's better for me to just get a second-hand bumper. So I do need a good second-hand rear bumper that he can respray up, but not this. This is going in the spares, so I'm going to have to get hold of a good second-hand one. In terms of the front bumper, I don't need a new front bumper, because the truth is there are no cracks inside it. It's got this going on here, which I've seen quite a few of them have. If you see this, it's just like, I don't know if it's even a crumple, but it's gone there as well, on the exact same position on the opposite side. But basically the thing on Mark 1s with the front bumpers is they always tend to crack along the edges, and then it protrudes like this. There is a little bit at the end missing, but all the fixing bolts are there, and it does secure really nicely. We've had some accident damage here. That wasn't me, that was somebody else, believe you me. And we've got some paint just coming off here around the number plate. Now the truth is that's salvageable, and he has looked at that and said no problem, even if it's got a little piece missing, as long as you don't mind the fact that it's going to sit like this after. And I said no problem at all. I can look, for the cost of £120, I can live with that. I'd rather just keep the original bumper if at all possible. So that bumper is going to be a spare. This bumper is going to be resprayed next year, but the roof is another matter. And I was looking at this and thinking, it looks on camera like a very, very good roof. It's been polished and wet sanded, and my God, that looks good. Even though I think there's some imperfections you can't actually see on camera, but hear this. that sound you can hear is still the minute amount of stone chips. We've got this going on here where something dropped on this car. We've got a pin, like a little shallow indentation there, and something did drop on this car. So the problem is with something like this, we've got something going on there. He will want to respray the whole thing to make it look proper. I think we've got something going on down here. Yeah, there's always been something there, some light scratches, but nothing much. Something obviously fell on the car. I'm already getting it dirty. And at the back, on the top of the tailgate, we've got this sparkly effect. This tailgate is the third in its life. This bit has been resprayed, this bit has not, and we are getting the sparkly effect, which actually looks even more sparkly now I've wet sanded it. But overall, I'm really happy with that roof. I can live with that roof for another 12 months and I will assess what I need to do. Got bits like this, a bit of a chunk. I don't know how that happened, but as you can see here, no, there's a lot. There's another chip there, there's a scratch there, and this is the worst bit here, where it went like this on the bonnet. And oh yes, the bonnet as well. Obviously, you know, the bonnet's been completely resprayed. Come on camera, focus in. I do apologise, it takes ages for this thing to go in, but I'm not surprised. I'm struggling to focus in, because to be fair, that looks like such a mirror image. It feels as if you're going to fall into the sky. This is what Panther Black should look like in all its glory. There's just no swirls, no nothing. I'm just stunned by the finish, and it has made such a difference to this car. Not from 10 foot away, it looks like the same car. Looks like I've spent money for absolutely no reason whatsoever, apart from this rear quarter panel, which now looks amazing. It's not faded or nasty. It looks as if it come out the factory. It looks better than factory in some respects. But when you go close to the car, as people generally do during car shows, it looks amazing. And that is exactly what I wanted. So I really do apologise for the missing footage there yesterday. I was really frustrated. I gave some really good tips, but the truth is, it was virtually a reverse of what I showed you. But I am actually going to do something now that I noticed was a little bit faded. I didn't like the look of it, and I thought I'll just swap it over. And it so happens that I have got a second-hand part that I took off another Focus that is in much better condition. It's only minute. You're going to think I'm being a bit geeky, but this is what sort of level my car is going at. Right, if we just step in here. Okay. Now, while the first things to wear on a Mark 1 are these. Yeah, I need one that has lock, but you can actually read it. I think the one on that side is equally as warm, but you know, it's the ink they use that naturally. I suspect that in Ford's general testing of this car, they would have probably had a robot put their little paw mitt on this button over and over again to test the wear. But then again, a human hand with grease on their thumbnails, that grease gets in eventually, and that's what happens. And it's always been kind of faded since I bought the car, and that's the original, and that's not changed either. But this indicator, yeah, it's a bit worn on the top here. Yeah, we're losing the dipped and the high beam symbols at the top, but that's okay, because in my second-hand spares, I managed to find one which is exactly the same, and lo and behold, wow, that's a nice little difference there. And that's enough for me to say, let's change it. So I'll show you how to change it. So first of all, very simple. Get your screwdriver in there and it pops the trim all the way up. There we go. We've popped it that side, and then we've just got to sort of pop. Come on, Andrew. Try not to damage it while I'm videoing it. Come on. Yeah. Okay, lovely. Right, we've popped that, so it should come up. There we go. Lovely. Okay, just try not to, as I say, try not to scratch the trim as you're doing this. Now, you can pop this up, and it's connected. This piece of trim, by the way, is connected to the bottom of the Speedo cluster. It's sort of splined in. It's not worth trying to get it out. But anyway, to take these out is very simple.
Now all you do here, both for, it can be for the wiper switch or the indicator switch, you've got a little tab here. Okay, so you see this little tab that you push in. So if I just push it this way to the left, there we go, it flips up. And if you push it down again, there we go, it's clicked in. So just flip it to the left, done. So just what you can do now is just move it up. Now it might be a bit firm. God, this thing, it does come out eventually, but anyway, if you can see down here, now it's all loose. You've got the wiring connector where my finger is. Get that wiring connector out. It's difficult for me to do actually on camera, but just get your finger in and take that electrical connector off, and then you can just pull the whole thing out. Go on. There we go. Flipping heck, that was tight. The whole thing out now. Lovely. That's it. That's all there is to it. Made in Spain. Yep. That's your little code there. 2nd of April. 2nd of April. This is the original one to the car, and it still works. So let's just put that down there. This one, practically identical, same parts number and everything, but on the back, the date stamp, 12th of August 2004. So quite a late one this is, but it's still exactly the same and completely identical to my original. So the original one is going just because of that. I think that looks rather much better, but the same goes for putting this in. Just slide it in. Now obviously I think it'd be best if you put the wiring connector on and then just slide it all the way down until it clicks in. Simple as that. Lovely. Just sit it down into that groove and at the back there. Done. That's how easy it is. Just a quick test. If I would help if I actually had my keys on me for a start. I don't know about you, but that sounded extremely different to my ears versus what I have previously been used to. I'm going to put the old one back in and we're going to listen to the sound and we're going to compare. Now, there are quite a few little intricate things that have really surprised me about Mark 1s over the years. This has got to be one of them. Now, Eva, assuming this one is a little bit worn, its beeper is a little bit, well, beeper, electronic. I say electronic beeper because it's like a fake relay sound. The old cars, classic cars, have a little mechanical bimetallic relay, and that's where you get that tick tick sound in old cars, and the indicators sound quite more mechanical, whereas these are synthetic electronic beepers inside these. My only criticism of a Mark 1 really is the sound of the indicators. I just think they're a little bit too electronic, but then again, it is 1998. But this sounds quieter, and I think the one I've just put on the car is a little bit more synthetic. I actually quite like it in some respects. It's a bit louder, but not too much in your face. Anyway, I'm going to swap it because this one is a little bit worn. But it might just be there is a little bit of a difference between the old ones and the new ones, unless assuming the older one is potentially on its way. Maybe the beeper's got a bit old. I don't know. I don't know what sort of use this has had, but this has come off a 2004 Mark 1 Focus, and there is a slight difference there. How interesting, but it's something that I can live with. Let's just hear it again. Yeah, that is significantly louder. How interesting. It doesn't sound like a completely different sound. It just sounds just slightly louder and maybe slightly more synthetic. How interesting. For the second time today. There we go. We've got the click, and just pop this down. Just put the tangs underneath. Just get a bit funny when you're trying to get it in position. It'll go away. There we go. That's clicked in, and just trying to get it to click this way a little bit. It will come. Oh, excuse me. There we go. You just got to sort of twist it around a little bit, and there we go, it works. But ooh, well, I've got a new sound on my Mark 1 in 10 years. That's amazing. I will keep the original. It's going to go in my spares, but I quite like the fact that that's barely worn, which might indicate, no pun intended here, that this has not been used as much. Maybe this is worn. I mean, even that looks crisper than those two arrows. This is definitely off a low mileage car. Maybe that's my problem here. I wonder if any of you could go home today, guys, and if you've got a late 2004 Focus, does it sound like that? I'm going to be doing the indicator test when I next see a few people. Well, that's me done for today. And above all else, I am ready for the festival or the exceptional. She just needs a little bit more cleaning, and that is it. And there will be some more details going out soon. So I hope that the weather is good on the day, because the weather looks a bit intermittent, but hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll be fine on the day. And thank you for all your feedback on the latest Mark 1 Focus Nix Ford Focus Mark 1 gear that needs a lot of work. That car left the driveway in a little bit better condition than when it came, and Nick's over the moon, and he's coming back, well, 100% for more work. And I'm sure you guys would prefer me to do more work in the future, but as I say, for now, I'm going to leave you here, and take care, guys. See you very soon.